Hello everyone, Ellen Woodbridge here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. Welcome back to the Christmas Stampathon 2023 and our January challenge. This month our theme is Oh Christmas Tree, and we'd like you to make multiple projects featuring trees or tree shapes. So for my project this month, these are the supplies that I am using. I'm using the Aspen Tree dies, the Thanks a Bunch stamp set, not for carrots, but I'll show you a bit more about that soon. We've got the Christmas to Remember stamp set, just using a sentiment from there. Our banner Pick-a-Punch and our, you can see here, our Pretty Prints Designer Series paper. And this is what the whole pack looks like with the different colours that you get in the Pretty Prints. So that's what I'm using, and the card we are going to make together is this one. So I'll show you how it all comes together. And just to give you, this is where I started. This is where I started with the Thanks a Bunch stamp set. So I started here and I ended up here. So let's see how the card comes together. So the colours we're using are Cherry Cobbler, Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, and a titch of Balmy Blue. So starting our card, I've got all of my stamps already pre-mounted, ready to rock and roll. Let me pop this out of the way, bring in the card just so you can see where we're going. So I am starting with a thick basic white card base, and I've also got our stamping here. So I'm going to start with all of our stamping. Now normally I would fold this piece of paper completely in half and start stamping from there, but today, because I am doing so much stamping, I am going to keep my card open, starting with our Soft Succulent ink pad, if I can open it today, which having a few troubles apparently. So I'm just going to open that up there, and we are going to take our largest carrot and we're actually going to use it upside down. Okay, so going to use it upside down to create pencil pine trees or conifer trees. Now we have our die, and I'm going to use it as a bit of a reference. I'm going to cut our piece a little bit later, but as a reference, I kind of want my trees going up in an oval shape. So I don't want them going straight across the bottom. I want them going up in that oval shape. But I am going to start in the middle, and I'm also going to bring in a scrap piece of paper just off to the side, because we are going to be doing some stamping off. So I'm just running this along my hand to make it a bit conditioned. Okay, now I'm going to be starting in the middle. So, and then I'm going to go straight next to it, but a little further up, stamped off. Okay, and I'm going along and doing this pattern the whole way along. Now, even for a third generation stamp, I'm going to go a little bit higher, and this will create some dimension. So just keep going further and further up until I have nearly gone to the edge of the card. Now this side I want a stamped off one, but I don't want to add any more full strength ones. And I'm just going to do a third generation one just there to finish off. Now if I bring in my die again, you can see I have probably gone a little too high maybe, but I can fix that. So you can see I've got this nice big tree. Just going to turn it over. So I've got these nice 3 trees right here in our largest piece. So now I'm going to build up our background. And actually I want a better stamping off here. And I'm just going to do different heights because this is quite a grove of conifers. Okay, so this one here, so we get all our different aspects. Okay, so this really truly doesn't take long, and the fact that I unevenly stamped that off actually doesn't bother me at all, because it does add some depth and dimension to what we're doing. Now I'm going to leave that there. All of mine that I have done are slightly different. So now I'm going to come in with the evening evergreen, and we're going to use the carrot top, and it's going to create some darker trees. And I'm going to do the stamp on, stamp off technique again. So I'm going to stamp on full strength on the dark, and then I'm going to stamp off on our stamped off carrots. So stamp on and stamp off. Now these aren't perfect, and do you know what? That is totally okay. So I'm going to do a stamp off here, and then I might do another little ghosty one right here. So that is that part done. Just pop my stamp off to the side. I will close my ink pads later. Okay, so I want to add, and I'll show you this close up, I just want to add a hint of a sky. So what I have used are these 5 lines just here with balmy blue. And do you know what I realized? This piece is actually too big, so I'm going to have to grab out. Sorry, I'm just thinking ahead a step or two. Now, I think if we were to use this, and if you were stamping a carrot in the ground, this would be a good stamp to show the layers of soil. But I haven't thought too much of the carrots. So what I want to do is do our stamp on and our stamp off, just to give that hint of sky. On my first couple of cards, I did add in a little bit of, and I'll show you on this card, I did grab a blending brush and put some sky and ground in there. Now on this one in particular, I am thinking of adding some grass just along the bottom, and I did use the detail stamp of the carrot to do that. But I'm going to wait until I die cut my aspen tree die to see if I need that extra detail just to fill in the bottom. Okay, I'm going to very quickly grab a ruler here and just check the width of this. So I think we've gone 3/4 of an inch, and that is perfectly widthwise. So let's pop that up here, grab down our trimmer. I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch, which is right here. Okay, and cut that up. For some reason it looks crooked, but do you know what? If it is, it's a handmade card. Now I have made already a number of these cards. I will show you. I've already made quite a number using different sides of our designer series paper, just for a bit of difference for the pretty prints. And it's the recipient never knows you've used different paper, but it's variety for us. Okay, so we're going to use our cherry cobbler, and this sentiment that we're using is just a Merry Christmas from the Christmas to Remember. Now, I am going to do a test stamp first because, hey, we have all been there when we have stamped and gone, oh, I wish I had have done a test stamp first, just to make sure it's all working well. So, just say a little prayer. We'll go down. It doesn't have to be perfect. We are going to leave it sit there for a few seconds. Now, that's a little bit too high. We've got two sides to our piece of paper. So, I'm just going to pull it a little bit further down on this one. And then that is fine. Not perfect, but good enough. Now, to make this match our card, I'm going to bring in our banner picker punch. Now, because I have cut at 3/4 of an inch, we have 1/2, 3/4 and 1 inch increments here. Now, as you can see, this just slides in perfectly. And what I want to make sure is that it's sitting flush against here. Just give it a little punch and I have that beautiful flagged end. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the other end. Now, I could feel that that was flush against the end, and we have our beautiful flagged, this one, our beautiful flagged sentiment. So we're going to pop that to the side. Now, next we are going to bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, our big one, to cut our aspen tree die scene. So just pop a few things to the side. Bring in our machine, which really isn't hard to set up. I'm showing everything in real time. There's no editing except for the top and tail of my video. So I just have a card front size of the Pretty Prints Designer Series paper. I have our die, which is pretty much a card front die itself. I'm happy with that placement, even if it is a little crooked. There aren't many trees in the world that grow straight. So just pop that through. And Siri is trying to listen to me on my watch as we go. Close up our platform and pop that to the side. So for our platform, we did use plate 1, plate 2 and 2 plate 3s. So that is perfect for die cutting. So I do have a couple of pieces here that I'm just going to pop in my desk rubbish bin. So these popped out perfectly. This die cuts so well, and that was only one pass on Designer Series paper. So pop these to the side and we are seriously almost there. I just want to carefully bring this across and just pop out everything else. Now you can see I could use this other side of the paper if I wanted. So it has a bit more of leaves on it, but I just like the mottled side. Now everything has just perfectly fallen out there. Now before I go adhering, I'm just going to pop this die. Look, everything's just falling out. I'm going to bring in my card and I'm just going to, right, I do need to add that grass just along the bottom. I didn't quite stamp far enough down and I've got all this white space at the bottom. So going back to our Thanks a Bunch set, and I'm going to grab this carrot detail. Okay, I'd love to hear your other ideas for using this carrot punch, because I'm sure there are thousands of ideas out there. Maybe not thousands. What colour do I want to use? I think I want to stay with the soft succulent, and I'm just going to condition this, bring back in my scrap piece of paper, and just give this an ink up, give this a stamp off, and then we are just going to add the grass. Going to stamp off again and just add in some layers of the grass. I'm being careful because I have inked up this top edge. Okay, now I can always bring back in this piece to see if, okay, I need to go down just a little bit more, and I may have this full strength. So I'm probably going to go down a little bit further than what I actually need to, but that's okay. Oh no, that's okay. That's the back of the card, and no one, it's okay, it's the back of the card. So you can see I've filled in around there, and we can see all our features through the vignette there. Okay, so time for glue. I do want a little bit of wiggle room, so I'm going to use our Tombow multi-purpose glue. So how are you going to showcase your Christmas trees? I cannot wait to see. So be sure to join our Facebook group, Christmas Stampathon 2023. Join the fun, get some fantastic inspiration, and get ready for the Christmas season. I know it doesn't seem very long away, but I can tell you this year has already flown for me. I'm there going, how are we at the end of January already? Okay, so that is down. I'm going to fold this card, grab my bone folder, give that a really nice burnish, and then all we have to do is find our sentiment, which I have just found, add some dimensionals to the back. I couldn't decide what embellishments to add to this project, so I actually didn't add any because I thought there was so much going on, because you look at this beautiful die cut and you keep on looking because you've got that multi-layered stamping in the back, so it makes you look through the die and searching for what else is in there. So I thought if I put any embellishments on there, it may just take away from the effect that I'm trying to give. Okay, just take the backings off these, off our banner Pick-a-Punch Christmas to Remember sentiment, and that we call this card done. I ended up making about 10 of these. You do not need to make 10. We just want you to make multiple. And I was thinking of maybe even trying a tag. Nope. Lucky I didn't stick that down, because that was not centered, and it still isn't. It's always the wiggle room to get it Right, and you know what? It's too high. Just want it a little further down. Perfect. And that is going to stay exactly how it is. So you can see from my sample card to the card we did today, they're both a little bit different. So with this kind of background scene stamping, you get something different every time. So let's go through what we have used today. I have used the Aspen tree dies. I've used the Thanks a Bunch stamp set, the Christmas to Remember stamp set, the banner Pick-a-Bunch, and I have created multiple cards. So please hop over to the Christmas Stamp-a-thon to join this month's theme, which is Oh Christmas Tree. Show us your projects, and just remember you have till the 24th to get in your entries to be featured by our design team. So we will choose 4 people to feature for January, but you can always go back and do any of our other challenges, and we would love to see your creations, because I know a lot of you over the Christmas period have gone back and done ones you have missed and added your photos, which has been wonderful to see. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll look forward to seeing you next month. Bye.